Hello again, and today's commentary is one that I have been building up to all week. I kind of hinted at it in some way, shape, or form in the first commentary of the week and why I hate the media. And now we are here. Now we are at the end of the week. I feel comfortable enough to do this. I did a little bit of research before I started recording, and we are going to talk about how Brie Larson is a lizard person. In the same way, in my commentary called Rian Johnson is a Lizard Person, Brie Larson is not the same woman that she was when she started in this business in like 98 when she was a kid, okay? We have to talk about her career before I get to her activism first, because her career is very important, because it leads into things later that will explain why she got such a big role when she was not into doing these kinds of big tentpole films. So, in 2003, a couple of years after she started, she appeared in this Disney Channel movie, Right on Track. I don't remember it as much as I remember shit like Xenon and like Tiger Cruise and other really weird fucking shit that you can find on the really great channel, the Disney Brain. But for me, what I find really fascinating about Brie Larson is that she is in a Disney Channel original movie. Now, contrary to popular belief, you can get cast in stuff later in your life if you worked as a Disney child actor. You've seen a lot of them kind of go on to do bigger things, but you don't see a lot of them coming back to the company years later. And so, when she got older, she started a bunch of other weird things. Like, she was a voice in that fucked up parody of March of the Penguins, Farce of the Penguins in 2006. And 4 years later, she appeared in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, one of my favorite movies of the decade, as Envy Adams. I think she did a great job, and it might have to do something with her personality, because she played a really cold, calculating bitch. And, yeah, we got that. And then I remember that Emma Stone passed on her role in 21 Jump Street, a film that came out 2 years later. And she got the role of Molly, Jonah Hill's girlfriend. And she looked very fun. She was very approachable. She was very nice. And before I keep going in her career, the reason why I have to talk about all of these films that she's been in is because people act like Brie Larson came out of nowhere. And it's not that she didn't, it's that she was not interested in the typical mainstream blockbuster. You know, Scott Pilgrim is not a blockbuster. It was a box office bomb. However, it had blockbustery elements. The reason why she liked it is because of the director, probably. Edgar Wright, amazing director, phenomenal director. You got the fucking Cornetto trilogy. You got Scott Pilgrim. You got recently with Baby Driver. I mean, the guy can make a fucking great movie. So after 21 Jump Street, I believe it either came out at the same time or came out like just after. She's in this movie Short Term 12. Everyone's talking about how great of a fucking lead she is. Then a couple years later, she is in the much maligned season 4 of Community, and she plays the perfect love interest to Abed. Like, seriously, again, it's like she is such a different woman now in terms of her acting, but we'll get to that once we're done with the career breakdown. Then she's from 2015. Very important that it's 2015. She's in Amy Schumer's god-awful fucking feature film, Trainwreck, as, I believe, Amy Schumer's sister. That's how I remember it from the trailers. But in the same year, Brie Larson did quite literally a big wow role in the movie Room. I remember seeing this at a film festival at the time. And yeah, you know, oh, you can make fun of me. Oh, Emily, I went to a film festival. But really, like, that movie blew all of the fucking competition out of the water. The woman that does the Handmaid's Tale show had a film that was somewhat similar, starring Olivia Wilde, about a mother losing her son because he just, like, mysteriously disappears. I believe it's called Meadowland. And that was shown, like, days before. And Room made everybody forget about that fucking movie. It was that good. And, you know, and it hit. And Brie Larson has a fucking Oscar because of that movie. And, again, I'll get to her acting after we get through the breakdown. So 2 years later... Oh, sorry, I did forget one big thing in 2015. So they had a Marvel Cinematic Universe panel for the Phase 3 announcements. And Kevin Feige was really pushing to get Carol Danvers into Age of Ultron. And Ike Perlmutter is known for kind of putting the shtick, or the kibosh, throwing the hammer down onto some of Kevin Feige's kind of dumb choices for characters he wants to adapt. And at the time, the Captain Marvel reboot had just come out, and it was okay at first, and then trailed off at like a couple issues into it. So I was excited for the prospect of Carol Danvers showing up. I had hopes and dreams of Charlize Theron, looking at Catherine Winnick. You know, if I knew who Betty Giplin was, I would have said her. But Kevin Feige brings out Brie Larson, who at the time had like reddish hair, onto the stage as Carol Danvers. Keep in mind, she is 29, nearly 30 this year. She was fucking 25 the year, I believe, in 2015. And I looked at that choice and I said, that made no fucking sense. Carol should be slightly older. I like, you know, how Robert Downey Jr. is older. I was totally down for like a Chiwetel Ejiofor as Black Panther at the time, because Chiwetel is such a great actor. I think he does just okay as Mordo by comparison. And yet we had this. And so now it's like, oh, what? I just got really confused. So cut now to 2017. She's in Kong Skull Island. Probably one of the better ones in the Godzilla versus Kong Legendary Monsterverse, or whatever the fuck they're calling that shit, with Godzilla vs. Kong coming out next year. She plays a one-off role as a fucking photojournalist. It was like the most forgettable role I think I've ever seen her in recently. And then we are at the present. We were with Captain Marvel. Big, you know, the whole, you guys know the spiel probably about how, oh, there's this controversy and this build-up, and oh, we got all these great critic reviews, but the audience doesn't seem to really be warm to it, and gee, I fucking wonder why. Maybe just check. My audience reception is better than critical reception for some of that story. But, you know, if you're cognizant and you're aware on the internet and somehow you've gone to this channel first, I recommend you look into all kinds of the Captain Marvel controversy videos, because I am not here to break down that. I am here to break down the woman, because I believe there's a big conundrum happening in her career. And she has one more movie to come out this year, and it's a civil rights death row inmate that's a black man Oscar bait movie called Just Mercy. It's got Michael B. Jordan and Denzel Washington in the cast, and she, I believe, is the leading lady. I don't know what her role is. I really don't care. But this is her career in a nutshell so far. And to me, what it says... Oh, wow, sorry, look at the time. To me, what it says is that for someone so young, she has had quite an adventurous, storied career. And now we're going to get into her acting, because her acting, to me, has so fucking drastically changed. You know, if you were to tell me, you know, if I were to be a little more unbiased in 2015, you were to tell me that recently Academy Award-winning actress Brie Larson from the movie Room is going to be Carol Danvers, I might have actually been genuinely excited to see what she did. Of course, that's not the movie we got. That's not the performance we got. It was just this stale, monotone... Like, when Mahler calls her Plank, I think that is so fucking accurate, because she is literally that character from Ed, Edd and Eddy, the board of wood that kid Johnny has, with the fucking red eyes and the blue smile. Except she has no smile, so at least Plank has a fucking emotion. And so, when I see this career of hers, I tend to notice a couple of things. One of those big things is that she had interactions with Amy Schumer like the year after Gamergate. And the reason why I'm bringing up Gamergate is because, much like the year of Gamergate's appearance, 2014, she started a diversity initiative with Cinefamily. And this diversity initiative was just, you know, a standard celebrity activist fucking push for representation. And this is where you see in her chronology of activism. Sorry, it's just, you know, too many words. This is where she starts to make her foothold. A year before she fucking gets an Oscar. It's very, very weird and very telling. 3 years later into her activism, she is at a Women in Film conference, and because Donald Trump is the president in that current year, she makes the case for more filmmakers to make anti-Trump statements. That is some of the most partisan shit I've ever heard. And then obviously, if you know the story, in 2018, like right around the time she fucking... Oh, sorry, it had nothing to do with her. Holy shit. Right around the time this Disney movie called A Fucking Wrinkle in Time comes out by Ava DuVernay, really known as Ava DuVernay. I love making that fucking joke. She makes this ridiculously crazy diversity speech in where she says, "I don't care what a 40-year-old white dude said about A Wrinkle in Time. It was not made for you. God. Gorsh." And so, here we are now. Brie Larson is insufferable. She's detestable. She's awful. And she also has an inclusion writer that she needs diversity everywhere. And this brings it up to this year, current year, 2019. She was voted as one of Time Magazine's most influential people of the year. And Tessa Thompson, her fucking, let's just say taco shell buddy in the Avengers and Marvel Cinematic Universe lineup, wrote her this fucking, like, glowing little diatribe for her blurb with her photo. And she does not talk about Brie Larson's acting talent. She does not talk about, who Brie Larson is as a person. All she fucking talks about is Brie Larson's commitment to the diversity myth and the diversity lie, and that we need representation. We need inclusion. We need to have everybody look different but think the same. Because that's what diversity is at the end of the day. I will get around to that probably next week. I think that will be the why I hate diversity, because really we need to fucking stop lying about diversity, because it literally causes death in certain countries in the world. Look at fucking Europe, bro. Look at fucking Europe. And so when I read that blurb, because my boomer parents fucking get Time Magazine without their consent for some reason still, I read that blurb and my mind was blown, and now that I've gathered all the information, so much of this timeline shit is the same thing that happened to Ryan Johnson. It's the same thing that's happened to a lot of these celebrities who have really just made the progressive push. And that something happened in 2014 to where, we people in the entertainment industry, we got to do more social justice activism. We got to do more progressive pushing onto our entertainment, onto the people, because people are agreeing with us, and especially the young people love us. Well, man, dude, I have a bridge to sell you to Generation Zyklon B, otherwise known as the Zoomer Gang. Because, boy, fuck, some of those guys are really spicy, really ghost peppery. So, kind of going back to her acting ability, it's flat now. It's anodyne. Maybe she'll be good in Just Mercy. I'm not really going to go pay to see that. If I have a friend that has screeners somehow, that's probably the only way I'll watch it. But for me, this whole conundrum that is Brie Larson, you take a sweet girl from Sacramento. She had a lot of potential. She had a lot of promise. She did all these great little indie roles. She pulled a Jennifer Lawrence and became a young Academy Award winning actress. And to this day, I still think that her performance in Room was way the fuck better than her performance in David Foster Wallace in Silver Linings Playbook. I forget the director's name right now, but ever since The Fighter, he's been doing these kind of movies that don't have a plot, and they're really just acting exercises strung together by historical events or some shit. And it's really like, he's only like an actor's director. And, I'll probably put his name in the comments because I'm that autistic. But for me, that's the kind of shit that I can't stand in Hollywood. And Brie Larson, fucking, yeah, that was a bang-up performance. It was amazing. That was some really good work in the current year. However, I don't think Room is that good anymore, because I think Brie Larson has specifically soured a lot of people, including myself, through her actions and through her initiatives. Because, this shit doesn't matter at the end of the day. We don't need representation. We'll live. Fucking people in other parts of the world like seeing, Westerners fucking in movies doing crazy things. They still pay to see fucking Tom Cruise, bro. Like, he's a Scientologist and a nut, but people still pay to see Mission Impossible, Jack Reacher, any fucking thing he's in that's not The Mummy. Because he's a movie star, okay? Like, this representation shit is part of the reason why we're losing the movie star. And it's not because these diverse actors aren't any good. It's that they don't have movie star charisma. They don't have shit that people like Brad Pitt have. Like, Brad Pitt, part of the reason why he was so good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood this year, it's because he had a plan for what he wanted to do with the character. He executed it really well, and he used the tools of his trade, his good looks and his charm and his wit, to make that role really sing. And he somehow, after a career of fucking like whatever performances, outshine Leo, who's been on a tear to fucking just win awards and shit. And again, Leo's another one of these people that's just like, we need to push for climate change while I fly on my fucking jet, because I really don't believe in any of this, because it just makes me look better in the press. Why are these actors so concerned about what a bunch of fucking loser retards with computers have to say about them? They should be more concerned with what people on the ground say about them, because those are the people paying into the system and guaranteeing them employment in the future. And, I might be a little hyperbolic every once in a while, but I really mean it with Brie Larson, man. She's a fucking plague. Like, when I talk about the rot that is in Hollywood, the rot in entertainment, like, she is one of those figures now that is at the source of it all. And she really had no issue in it. Like, oh, she fucking started the Time's Up initiative. Great, dude. Oh, she's fucking trying to push for diversity everywhere she goes. Like, wow, like, how about, are they qualified for the position first? Can we answer that question? Can we, like, achieve that fucking goal, maybe? Just maybe, can we do this shit? Can we, like, make good work first and then worry about minute bullshit later? Because, let me tell you, the entertainment industry is a bleak landscape. And it's people like Brie Larson that make it such a bleak landscape, because they are drowning in minutia day in and day out, and instead they are severely not getting into their performances. And before I wrap this up, I think the reason why she acted like such a fucking piece of driftwood is because she read modern Captain Marvel comics, where Captain Marvel isn't only Carl Manvers, she's also a fucking ridiculous cop lady fascist. And I don't like using the word fascist at all. I think commies have ruined that. But she truly acts like a nightmarish authoritarian who wants to just use force on people she doesn't like. And that, to me, is the baseline definition of fascism, is to just use the force of yourself or the state to enforce your will on others. It's dictatorial. And so many of these agents of social justice and progressivism have this dictatorial mindset because they are so focused on gaining and seizing power. And we got to put a stop to this. Not as defendant menace, not as, anti-social justice activism. We need to put a stop to this for the sake of the future of entertainment and human relations. Because If we keep going down this path, we are just going to cause so many problems for the human race. And gender relations will be fucked. Race relations are already pretty bad. You know, what else do you want, Brie Larson? What else do you want for diversity? What else do you want for your fucking lame goals and your fucking steadily declining acting, huh? Huh, bitch? What do you want? What do you want? So in conclusion, this is why I truly believe Brie Larson is not the same Brie Larson that she was before, like, 2012, 2013. Because, as I said, she started doing this diversity shit in 2014, so I can't even go like, oh, she saw some shit like Gamergate, and then she's like, I gotta do a push for diversity. No, she's not as lame as Ryan Johnson. She is truly more sinister than Ryan Johnson because of this, because she buys into the Hollywood narrative. And you, Brie Larson, if you're gonna just become a Hollywood activist instead of a Hollywood actress, tread lightly, because your career is gonna suffer.